bringing you a kid-friendly radio show. Every Saturday afternoon on YouTube. Broadcasting live at 1 o'clock. Broadcasting live at 1 o'clock.
Hello and welcome to episode 36 of the Brit Show with me, Ethan, the 100 subscriber special. Coming up on today's show, part 2 of my interview with by Bike&Boat, another head-to-head at the best guess. And I will let you, yes, you, take over the show for a little bit to celebrate 100 subscribers. So it has been 3 weeks instead of 2 weeks since the last show because I've been relaxing, but we are back now, stronger than ever. I don't know why I said that. I've done loads and loads of things this last 3 weeks. The first thing that I had an operation. Yes, I had an operation to take 2 plates out of my knee that they put in back in January. I explained it on my last show. So that was actually nearly 3 weeks ago now. Also then that weekend after that was literally crazy. I got to go on national TV, on CBBC and on radio within an hour of each other. Then that was weekend got literally crazy. I got to go on national TV, on CBBC and on radio within an hour each other. So let's just show that clip to explain.
Yes, I love this part of the show, living the dreamer. Now, thank you very much, Abs. A couple of weeks ago, we surprised wannabe detective Roshna. She was at home watching the show. Next thing you know, she's here in the studio, being her very own detective on a mission around the National Studio, hunting for the missing slime. And do you know what? It was the wrestlers. Of course, it was pretty deadly. Now, because we love surprising people, guess what? We're going to do it again! Yes, one lucky viewer listening and watching right now. It's going to be you, so make sure you buy your phones. I'm going to ring you. I am. I've paid the bill. It could be any of you. Absolutely any of you. Your phone's ringing. And the point of it is, surprises you don't know. I hope you've got your phone. Please pick up your phone. I'm too excited for this delay.
Hello? Hello?
Hello there. Is that Ethan from Teesdale?
Yes.
Hello, buddy. You're live on Saturday Back.
Hello?
Are you alright? Morning so far.
Yeah, it's been good.
Oh, it's been good. Yeah, it's about to get brilliant. If you head to your dining room, I've got a surprise for you, and it's all going to become clear. So get to your dining room, and I'll be able to see you there. I'm not physically there; it's just via technology. But thanks for answering your phone. I really do appreciate it. This is amazing. He has no idea about the surprise. I do, and I love it. This is one of my favouriteest ones. It's going to be a good one. Lovely chair. You've got like an emergency chair there as well at the back for Christmas. Oh, Ethan, hello, give us a wave! Hang up your phone, buddy. Oh, hello. How are you doing?
Hello. Good.
And is that Dad in the background filming?
Yeah.
Hey, don't. Oh, hello. It's good. It's on the telly. Don't worry, it's on iPlayer as well. Now, morning, buddy. Now, I hear that you love radio. Is that true?
Yeah.
Good. Oh, we're off to a good start. Now, I hear that you love it so much, you've got your own radio show, haven't you?
What? Yeah, I do.
That is good. Now, why did you do that? Why did you start your own radio show?
Because I didn't really think it's not really a radio for kids.
Yeah.
Radio station.
Show an interview with a 16-year-old.
Good stuff. And there you are. It already looks pretty pro. And do you know what, buddy? I've had a listen and I absolutely love it. And do you know what? I hear you love listening to BBC Radio 2. Is that right?
Yeah, I do.
Well, what do you love about BBC Radio 2?
They do lots of different topics, and it's good. It's quite good music and entertaining.
Yes, it's good. It's got a variety, good chat, everything's on there. I also love your show, like I've mentioned, but wouldn't it be amazing if we could get some top tips from like a major DJ to help you make your show even better? That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be really good.
Don't worry, it's not me. I haven't DJ'd at all. But I happen to know that the one and only Claudia Winkleman, she's getting ready for her show at 10 o'clock this morning. Wouldn't it be brilliant? I know. Wouldn't it be good if she could help you out?
Yeah, it'd be really good.
Oh, that would be good. That would be good. Unfortunately, Ethan, she's on air in 30 minutes. She's very busy. Sorry about that. I know. Sorry to bring him up like that. But fortunately, she's taken the time out of her schedule for you, Ethan. So say good morning to Claudia Winkleman.
Hello.
Hello, it's so lovely to meet you. I wish I was physically there, but I'm here. I've got a pen, I've got my notes. I've listened to your radio show. You are excellent. I can't believe you built your very own studio.
Yeah, it's in a corner of my room. My desk is like slanted, and yeah, my background.
I've seen it. It's absolutely amazing. You've got the same headphones as me. I was like, guys, can we just make sure I've got the same headphones as Ethan? Let Ethan be in charge of everything at Radio 2. I can't give you tips because I'm rubbish. I basically need you to tell us what you'd like more of. You're in charge, Ethan, and I was wondering, you can say no because I don't know what plans you've got. Would you like to introduce a live on our show today? Would you like to introduce a song?
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay, good.
Oh my
By the way,
goodness.
I'm so grateful because can you imagine if Ethan had gone, do you know what, I'm doing something else? I'm making a bacon roll.
Yeah, sorry, Claudia, I've got a bit on mashup, sorry about that. Claudia, thank you so much. I'm glad you've got your pen and your paper because you need to prep and get ready for your show. So this is right. So Ethan's going to be live on your show introducing a song on BBC Radio 2 in half an hour.
That's what's happening this morning. That is what is happening. So Ethan, don't go out.
Wow.
Don't, just stay near your phone, please, and we'll call you. You can introduce a song. You and I can have a chat. I mean, you can host the whole show if you want. Everyone will prefer it. I'll have a nap.
Yeah.
I will speak to you live on BBC Radio 2. Is that all right?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Claudia. We'll let you get off now.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Claudia. We'll come in. Oh, Ethan, are you as excited as me?
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, we'll catch up with you both soon. See you, Ethan. Oh, I cannot wait.
Okay, bye.
Oh, my goodness. She's going to be live on BBC Radio 2, and we absolutely love surprising people. Can you tell? So we'll catch up with them in around half an hour live on Radio 2, and we absolutely love making dreams come true, and we're currently on the look.
So once that happened, I came upstairs to this desk to go on Radio 2, BBC Radio 2 with Claudia Winkleman, but I was waiting for like a half an hour here, and it was probably the most nervous I have ever been in my entire life. My heart was racing, and it was so fast, and it was the surprise of being on the show because I had no idea, combined with the nervousness of going on one of the biggest radio stations in the country with averagely getting millions of listeners with someone which I absolutely love. It was just an insane experience. So let's play the clip of me going on Claudia Winkleman's show on BBC Radio 2.
I love your news at 10s, and we have a caller who I met earlier on a live link with CBBC. Good morning, Ethan. What is your news at 10?
Hello, Claudia.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. So we should explain to the group that you have set up an extraordinary... You've created your own radio show. You did that in lockdown because you love radio, and I think you love Radio 2. I hope. It would be weird if you went, no, I actually listened to all the other stations. And they surprised you this morning, and I popped up sort of orange and weird, and you said you would love to introduce a song live on Radio 2.
Yeah, I would.
OK. Tell us about your radio show, because you've got all the equipment. You basically turned your bedroom into a studio, didn't you?
Yeah, I do. I have. So I do it every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and it's called the Brit Kids Show on YouTube. I do video and also audio, and I interview lots of different people and do a quiz with lots of different friends. And also, while I'm here, I would love to have you on, Claudia, on
Whenever you want.
my show.
Literally, whenever
sometime.
you just choose the day and I will be there. It would be an
Okay.
absolute honour because you created this to get kids and young people sort of through lockdown, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I created it because there was not really a kids' radio show or a podcast or radio station out there, and to give people a voice, to give young kids a voice to speak out as well.
Well, congratulations. We think you're brilliant. Are you ready
Thank
to
you.
do it in your way? And you're going to introduce one of your favourite songs. It's over to you, Ethan.
So here's George Ezra with Paradise.
Brilliant. You know what I call him? I just call him George. Let's cancel his surname. It's been removed. No, it has.
Yeah.
I think he'd go for that. Ethan, it was so lovely to talk to you.
Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes, I know, I messed up George Ezra's name. I can say it fine now, but it was just because I was so nervous then. I was like, George Ezra. I'm going to be haunted by that for years and years now. So then I went back downstairs and waited to go back on Saturday Mashup on CBBC to catch up with me. Just let's play the clip.
It is living the dream time now, and earlier on this morning I surprised radio fan Ethan with the help of Claudia Winkleman, who invited him onto her Radio 2 show live this morning. So before we get Ethan back, let's take a little look at how that went down. Good morning to Claudia Winkleman! Yes, that's what happened. It was me sat here, and so was Ethan. So Ethan, are you here, sir, superstar DJ? Yes, give it away, please. Oh, I'll tell you what, mate, I'm very jealous. You look ecstatic. Now, you went live to millions of listeners on Radio 2 earlier on. How was it?
Yeah, it was great. I was so nervous, but Claudia made me feel comfortable even when I messed up.
Oh, hey, brilliant stuff. And that's what it's all about. We're live, and it sounded brilliant. Are you even more inspired now to pursue a career in presenting?
Yeah, I am. Claudia inspired me to make my guests feel more comfortable and play along when they say something different to like my script or something.
Oh, you've got loads of tips there already, and I think we haven't even seen it yet on Mashup. So do you know what, Ethan? Let's have a look at something that happened from your big moment with Claudia Winkleman.
I interview lots of different people and do a quiz with lots of different friends. And also, while I'm here, I would love to have you on, Claudia, on
Whenever you
my
want.
show.
Literally,
sometime.
whenever you just choose the day and I will be there. It would be
Okay.
an absolute honour.
That was so good. Now, even you really made the most of that. And I'll tell you what, when Claudia, when she goes on her jollies to Cornwall and holiday, I reckon Radio 2, they're calling you to cover her show. You'd be ready, to be fair. You'd be ready. Now, how have you enjoyed this morning now?
It's been amazing. I've been so nervous.
Oh, you've done
my
it
heart's
brilliant.
been pumping throughout. And also, while I'm here, I would love to have you on the show as well, Joe.
Yes, Ethan, I was going to ask you if I could be on the show. Ethan, I would love to do it if we could tie it in with Claudia on. That's a double booking. Ethan, you've been amazing. Thank you so much. Have a brilliant rest of your Saturday, and I'll listen to you soon on the radio. Take care, Ethan. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, what a legend. Now, if you...
So, yes, Joe said he would come on, and I have now had confirmation that he will hopefully be coming on the next show, be interviewed, which is very exciting. But Claudia did say she would come on, but I have tried every way to contact her, but she still hasn't replied. That if you are watching this, Claudia, I will take that against you all my life if you don't reply to me. I'm joking. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. I do want to say thank you to Saturday Mashup. As you see in my background, they sent me a mug recently with the Saturday Mashup logo on. And they also sent me signed autographs of everyone. One with Harps here, one with Joe, and one with Stanley here, which was good. All in my background. Might move them around. Maybe, I don't know if I will keep them in my background, but we'll have to see. I also want to say thank you to Claudia and her team for taking time out of the day and things, and my parents for setting it all up and keeping a secret, because actually they told me I did a CBBC research thing early in the week, which was actually just an interview saying, should we let him be surprised? Is he worthy of it? Then they said on the Saturday, yeah, we've been told that they might play a little bit of the clip of the research things that they've been getting with lots of different people, but obviously it wasn't lots of different people. That's why we were watching the show and up that early on a Saturday morning. Then I just got surprised, and it was literally just an amazing experience. Also, last week it was my birthday, so that's why I didn't do a show last week. I got a new phone, this phone, the Redmi Note 9 here, lovely new phone. And I got like a fitness watch here, like a Fitbit kind of thing, where I can see how stressed I am, my heartbeat, loads of different lovely things, and lots more. And then we went out for a really nice meal where I had a pizza. It was absolutely lovely, which was really nice. I had a great birthday, and so thank you to my family for that as well. And also in the past 3 weeks, actually, literally, just as I got out of the operation and was just recovering in hospital, we hit 100 subscribers on this channel, which is absolutely insane to think about. It's just weird to think there's now actually 114 people out there of you that's clicked that button. So I just want to say a big thank you to all of you. It is just incredible, and it's just incredible to think about, and it's unbelievable to think about, just to think about 114 people in a room. That would be massive. And to think about all of them that you've subscribed to me, which is just, it's just insane. This podcast isn't about numbers for me. I just want to put a great and entertaining show every 2 weeks, because actually one of my main goals for 2021 was to keep this going, to keep doing this show every 2 weeks. It wasn't to get this amount of subscribers by 2021, though that would be nice, because the numbers are still nice, and it's nice to see so many of you sticking around and subscribing, but it's still nice to get number goals. So I'm going to try and double it every time we hit a goal. So let's try and get 200 subscribers, which would be insane, even more unbelievable than 100. So to celebrate 100 subscribers today, I am launching the Brit Kids Show social media. Yes, if you want more of the Brit Kids Show through the week, behind the scenes updates on the show and exclusives, follow all my socials at the Brit Kids Show on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Yes, I know. You can also message me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram about coming on the show, any questions you have on the show, or generally whatever you want, as well as emailing. Also, I do have another social media account that you can follow, my photography account with my new phone that has got 4 cameras. So I'm going to post some lovely photographs on there. I'm trying to get better at photography, so give that follow too. It's at Ethan Takes Photo. Yeah, Ethan Takes Photos was filled up, and Ethan Photography was gone as well, so I couldn't get them. So follow that if you want to see some photos from me as well. Another thing that I am going to do to celebrate 100 subscribers in this show is that I'm letting you, yes you, my audience, take over some of the show today. So basically, I sent out a message to some of my friends and asked them to send in a challenge that they wanted me to do. So I'm kind of regretting doing this now, but let's get into it. So challenge 1 is set by Russell. He said, get a biscuit on your forehead and try and get it in your mouth without touching it. So I'm gonna get a biscuit. I'm gonna come back here and then let's get started. So I've got a biscuit. It's an oat biscuit, and yeah, I've been downstairs, got a biscuit. So let's get started. So I think I need to do this. I'm going to say I got that there. So, challenge 2 has been set by Dan, but let's go outside for this one. Dan said balance a ball on your head. He didn't specify what type of ball, so I just got a tennis ball. So this might not work, this might work, I don't know. I have to balance it on my head for 30 seconds. Let's go, really. Okay. I don't think this is going to work, really. Yeah. In the garage, so we couldn't get it, so I decided to just put it in my eye. It worked. So I balanced it kind of on my head for 30 seconds there you go, Dan. So challenge 3 has been set by Struan. He said try and make an animal out of paper. I'm going to give myself 2 minutes for this after I've watched a video of how to make an animal with this one. I've got my paper. Let's watch the video and try and figure out. It's a scrap piece of paper, so there's writing on this side, but let's try and figure it out. Struan, I'm sorry to say, Struan, I've really let you down here, Struan, haven't I? I can't do it. Sorry, time's up. I can't really do it. It's gone really wrong. That step was too hard. I probably picked the wrong thing, but let's move on to the next one. So I would say we've done probably about 2 out of the 3 challenges so far. I did cheat kind of on challenge 1 and challenge 2, but that's not it. I couldn't do challenge 3. Sorry, Struan. You've really got me there. Okay, so challenge 4 is set by Rowan, and she said try and speak for as long as you can without taking a breath. Okay, so I'm going to just say, let's just try and read some script, guys. Try and do it for as long as we can. So I'm gonna try and do a stopwatch on my phone. Okay, so we're gonna start a stopwatch. I'll record it, then you'll be able to see it. Stopwatch, there you go. Okay, so let's start it in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Please share this video with your friends and family, like, comment, and listen to last week's episode if you haven't already listened to this show until the end. Email me or subscribe. Oh no, I did really bad there. 10 seconds. I'm gonna try and do it again and take a deep breath in because I didn't do that. Please share this video with your friends and family. Like, comment, and listen to last week's episode if you haven't already. Email me and subscribe because it does really mean a lot to me. In the meantime, if you have any suggestions, oh no, I kind of not. I didn't do it. 10 seconds. Is the max Rowan? Sorry, I didn't really do that one. 2 out of 4 challenges I kind of did. So let's move on to the next challenge now. So challenge 5 has been set by Alice. She said do an animal quiz in honor of Bethy Smith, who lives near me and sadly recently passed away of cancer. From cancer. She's the year below me, and she loved animals and helping the planet. So let's try and find a quiz for us to do for her. Okay, so we are here, we're back, so I'm gonna just enter my nickname, and then, okay, let's go and do this now, okay. Yes, okay. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Yes. Oh no, I'm doing really bad at this. Yes, right. Okay, we're nearly finished. 3 points left. Easy 2. Sorry, 2 so yes. Oh, alright. Okay, this is the second last question. Is there anything that you do? And this is the last question of the quiz. Okay, so that was a challenge. Oh, I did quite well there, to be honest. Okay, so that was challenge 5, set by Alice. So challenge 6 has been set by Izzy. So she said, do a fire naming challenge. So I've decided to set myself 30 seconds to say as many British cities in that time. So let's get into it. Okay, so okay, the 30-second timer has started now. London, Birmingham, Australia, no, not Australia, what am I saying? London, Birmingham, Durham, Darlington, no, that's not, Durham, Glasgow, Bristol, this is really hard, Coventry, Warwick, Brighton, Norwich, oh no, I only managed, I was really bad at that, really. I was really bad at that. I got 9 cities decently well. Let's move on to the next challenge. So challenge 7 has been set by Ollie. He said to juggle, to try and learn to juggle. So let's go downstairs for this one. I can't juggle, sorry. I can kind of do it with 1, but I can't really do it with 1. And I can hardly do it with 2, and with 3, it's just out of the picture. Okay, let's move on to the next challenge. So, challenge 8 has been set by Tom, okay.
My challenge to you is, like the biscuit one, get an orange, no skin on, place it on your forehead with the like the, you know, not rolling but flat bit down.
Okay.
You must eat it in your mouth, but you have to separate each of the slices somehow. Don't ask me how. So you can split it into quarters with your hands, but then the rest you have to do just with something.
Okay, Tom, challenge on. I've got, I'm gonna go and get an orange, and then I'll get back to you. So I've got the orange peeled now, as you can see. If it, yeah, it looks very white here, but yeah, I've got an orange peeled. I've not had an orange in a while, so I'm gonna. He said I can use my hands twice, can't he? So, doing it in half, and then he said we can do it. I'm gonna go and do it into quarters. Did I do that? I don't know. I don't know if I did that properly. I don't know. But let's move on to the next challenge. So, challenge 9 is set by Emma.
Hi Ethan, I challenge you to do the cup song.
Okay, challenge on Emma. I'm going to watch a video, then I have 2 minutes to try and do it, or thereabouts. Okay, so let's try and cups. How to do cups in cup song. Cup song. There you go. Okay.
Hi, I'm Dion Bromfield and I'm going to take you through the cups trick by
I've got a
cups when I'm gone. Now all you need to do is get a cup first.
I've got like a box, and so I'll try and do it. Okay, okay. So that's kind of my thing. It's probably one of the most successful ones yet. That is kind of, that's challenge 9 done. Let's move on to the next one. So challenge 10 is set by Amelia, and she said do a Kahoot. So we'll go back onto Kahoot now and do the challenge. Challenge accepted. So we've got general trivia. Okay, so let's play it now. Okay, challenge. Play yourself. Okay, so we've got Kahoot for this. So Ethan, remember the end. Oh no, I'm going on again. Let's go. Okay. Okay. Volume. This is easy. Oh no, we're really okay. So okay, so what's the oh no, it's Russia. No. I know this. Yes. Okay, so this will end it. Yes. Okay. So okay, so what's happening on this tower? Yay! Okay, let's go. Okay, please find the order from the furthest to the closest. Okay, so from the furthest to the closest to the second. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Okay, that's good. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Yes, okay, next one. We're going to left. Oh, it's intervals. Okay, Paul, okay. Have you learned something new today? Yes. Okay, and is this last question? Let's see. Oh, I've got no idea. Oh, I guess, yes. Oh, this was okay, this last question. What? Vexillology. Oh, yes, right. Woohoo, thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. Woohoo, thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. So I did do well on that Kahoot there. I think so. I only got a couple of questions wrong. at the start. So this is the second, yes, this is the second last challenge. So challenge 11 is set by Ellen. Here it is.
Okay, so my challenge is for you to eat a sugary donut without licking your lips.
Okay, challenge on. But I don't have any donuts, so I thought peanut butter was going to be quite hard to without licking your lips or licking the inside of your mouth. So I'm going to go and get a peanut butter rice cake. I'll be right back. So I automatically just started. I've got a rice cake. I accidentally started, but I've cleaned my mouth again. And we're going to start right here and try and not lick my lips or my mouth. I don't know how this is gonna work. Let's try and eat it. So I did it. I've not licked my lips. I've not licked in the inside of my mouth now. It's really cloggy. So I'm allowed to do it now. So yeah. I did that challenge for you, Alan. I did it. So the final challenge has been set by Ben.
This is my challenge. Ethan, could you pour a bottle of cold water on top of your head?
Challenge accepted, Ben. I've actually got a bowl of water here because my mum forced me to get a bowl of water. We're out in the garden and I'm ready to get drenched in cold water. I'm dreading this one. I don't think I should have set these challenges, but it is my 100 subscriber special, but because that is why I did it. So let's. I'm really dreading it. I'm just gonna get it over and done with. My mum is smiling behind the camera, ready and excited to see what I'm doing. Okay. That's it. Ben, I'm drenched to the top. There you go, Ben. That is my challenge. I did it. So, they were all the challenges. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Some of them I didn't do properly. Some of them I gave up. But some of them did go well, like the last one. I'm all dry now. It's actually the next day. That was really bad. Sorry, the audio is a little bit out of sync. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, now it is time for my interview with Rich from Bike&Boat with 14,000 followers on Facebook. I was wondering, like, to get from canal to canal, are they all connected, like, across the UK? And can you because I presume there's some places that you can't get to through a canal because there's not a canal there. So how does that work?
Yeah, so there's huge parts of the country where there are no canals. There's even parts of the country where there's sort of like landlocked canals that were once upon a time linked, but over time they became disused, they silted up, they grew over. And they're not there. So where we're going down the Llangollen Canal, there's the Montgomery Canal. And if you look on a map, there's loads of sections that have still got water in, but between them, it's just land now. And they're actually working really hard to get those parts of the canal reinstated and get everything linked up. We were speaking to a couple last night and their local canal up north was the same sort of situation where you've got this landlocked canal and they're trying to get it back connected to the main system as well. But in regards to the canals where we've changed from canal to canal, we started off on the Oxford Canal. We then went up to Braunston, which is Northamptonshire, and we went down through the Braunston Tunnel. We were on the Grand Union at this point, and we went through the Braunston Tunnel, down the Long Buckby flight, which was actually where we first bought Bluebell from. And it was the first time we had gone back there as well, so that was nice. And then we went down into Milton Keynes, and then when we came back up and got on the North Oxford Canal, and it's literally at that point there's no locks in between, there's no obstacles in between, there's nothing to do. You don't white water raft the boat down onto the next canal or anything like that. It's pretty straightforward. You just cruise onto the canal. The only place where there has been differences is when we went from the Oxford Canal onto the Coventry Canal. It's at a junction called Hawkesbury Junction, and there's a stop gate there, which is a lock, but the water really only goes down about 1.5 inches. It's not a huge difference. These were just there in the olden days because it was there to control the water, because each canal was owned by a different company, and what they didn't want is they didn't want the other company nicking their water, so they had a gate there to control the water flow going from one canal to the other canal.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting, how the canals are all separated, all connected. But like, once you go like north of Manchester, is there that many canals? Because I don't think I've seen that many canals here in the northeast of England.
So to be honest, you've got many more in the north than we would have in the south. Definitely, as we're going, I think as we went past Birmingham, in actual fact, there was loads of canals. So yes, we can. So north of Manchester, obviously, you've got Sheffield and you've got Leeds. And so you've got the Leeds and Liverpool Canal, which goes over the top. And you've also got some up in Scotland as well, which aren't connected to the English canals. So you've got a fair few, and you've got quite a lot of rivers around that way as well, which are also navigable. And that, of course, that's the other thing, is that thing to note is that canals are man-made, whereas rivers are natural. But in a lot of cases, obviously the canals are all meant to be navigable. Some of the rivers are navigable.
Yeah, so that's very interesting. So like, so what? How does it work? This was a question that I thought, and when it was interested in, how does it work with like water and sewage, and how do you get that onto the boat and get that off the boat with sewage?
Yeah, definitely. So basically, up and down the system, there's points called Alsan points, where you can empty the sewage, and they're pretty much everywhere. They're all over the place, and if you are regularly traveling, you shouldn't have an issue with that at all. With regards to drinking water, right at the front of the boat here, we've got a really large, around about 800 litres of fresh water. We don't drink out of our tank. And part of the reason for that is because we've got big drinking bottles that are like 5 litres, and we'll walk to the nearest water point to fill those up when we need them. So I think we have about 10 of those. So we're on filling up day, we'll fill up our 10 drinking bottles, and in midweek, if we need to, we can just pop along. Now here, if I was to walk 5 minutes in that direction, and what I tend to do is I tend to take our bicycle trailer, and I'll take that along with the empty bottles. I'll fill it up and I'll bring them back. That just then prolongs our bigger tank for things like washing up and taking showers and things like that. One thing that we have to be used to here is taking what we call a navvy shower. So it really is jumping in the shower, turning the shower turning it off, soaping up, turning the shower on, and then we're done. We're not like Vivienne Westwood and have like 3-hour-long showers or anything like that.
No.
That's the other thing I think about, if you can still hear me, that's the other thing about living on a boat. It's the technical difficulties when it comes to things like the internet. It's much better having very manual things on a boat than it is electronics.
So, you make jewelry out of old copper pipes, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. And in actual fact, what I tend to do is when we go into a local town like we have today, I'll put a message up on the local Facebook group to see whether there's any avid DIYers or plumbers that have a few offcuts. And those are the bits that I use and recycle into things which I find beautiful. And I think that's what's important. I don't really make for the masses. I just make things that I really like.
Yeah. So when did you first start making jewelry?
So that was it. I was back in July. And so remember I spoke about the guy who I met on it was on the water point in Warwick, who was off to Wales. He was sort of like a bit of a hippie dude, you know. And that evening, I sat with Bobby, and we were watching. I don't know if you've ever seen the YouTube channel How's It Made. I think they used to do a TV show as well. And what they do is they go into factories and they film the process of something being made from raw materials.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah.
Item. And we were watching the one on marbles, how they made glass marbles. And the next video was how to make a copper bracelet. And that is really where it all started. I thought, you know, this is something that I could do. And as I say, a few days later, I started getting the tools together. And then really, really sad, I got a call from my mum to say that my dad was poorly. And, you know, a couple of days later, he passed away. And it was at this point, Ethan, where, you know, it really hit home to me that life is so precious and quite short. You know, we've only got a certain amount of time, and we might as well enjoy it, and we might as well, heck, not even take it too seriously. You know, we needed to follow our heart. So it was at that point where I decided I needed to make this business work. And that was sort of July, August last year. By October, I knew that I had a business which was financially sustainable and could support our family. So that's when our adventure started.
So do you now work like full time as a jeweler?
Yeah, 100%. As I say, I think, you know, the best way of looking at it is not necessarily like a label of a jeweler, because I think it's an old cliche, but it's following your heart. You know, I work as a dad. We home educate the children. The whole thing around living on a narrowboat is that you know, I probably painted a little bit of an image of it being all roses and castles and rose tinted spectacles, but there's a lot of work around it. So you know, being a jewelry maker is a section of my life. But there's so much more going on with it as well. But it's nice to be able to have that balance so that I'm not clearly defined, you know, like in a 9-to-5 job full time. Yeah, life's a lot bigger than that.
Yeah. So did you start your like social media with when you started the jewelry?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think I started within 3 weeks. I'd actually made my first bracelet, and a friend of mine actually on my personal Facebook bought that off of me. And then within the week after that, I had 2 more sales that were his friends who had liked what I had made for him and had ordered 2 more bracelets. And that's when I started with a website called Etsy, which is a little bit like Amazon, but for people who hand make. Yeah. And I just set up a Facebook page. I did some live makes. I don't know if you've seen some of those, but I make jewelry live on camera, and people can talk to me as I'm doing that. They can send a little comment and I can read it out and reply on the camera. And I think during the subsequent lockdowns that we had, people just got that, and they were able to experience connection with another person that was outside of their family circle, you know. And so I enjoyed it just as much as everybody else enjoyed it, because, you know, it was the same for me as it was for everybody else. You know, we were locked down as well. So it was just nice to be able to see other people and see their comments and be responding to them and have a little bit of banter as well as we were going through.
Yeah, so are you completely like self-taught with your jewelry work?
So apart from that original, I think 6-minute 30 video, that's the only thing that I've actually watched on how to. I did have a guy come to help me do some soldering, but everything else that you see on the website is literally just came out of here. Wow. And it's just come as a result of playing around with metal and finding what works and find what doesn't work. It's quite funny because sometimes people will come up with ideas for me. And so rings that I have, I don't know if you can see that, but that's my thumb ring that I make. And it's something which now sells very, very well. But I was hounded. I was pestered to make rings for a long time, and it's great. And it's lovely that all of these people have got all of these ideas. But it really takes time to develop something. not just to develop it, to test it, to make sure that the quality is there, to make sure that it's something that I can be proud of as well. So it took me ages to make loads of different types of rings and wear them and test them, making sure they weren't catching on anything, making sure that my hands weren't swelling up, or it wasn't too tight, or it wasn't too loose, and learning all of the different techniques that went with it. You know, I literally, you get these tools sent to you in the post and you think, well, how do I use these? You know, and it's just, you have to go through that process of learning and teaching yourself and reading books and reading articles off of the internet and things like that. And eventually you arrive at something which you feel comfortable with. And then as a businessman, you know, because this is a business, then comes the hard bit. And that's how you show people what you've created, and open them up to the possibility that they might want one of your creations, which I find incredibly difficult.
Yeah. So I'm looking at your website now. So like, how do you like stock things? Because like on the website, it's like most of the things are like only 2 left in stock. Some of the things are only 1 left in stock. So what do you stock? Do you make big batches of every single thing, or what? How does that work?
So basically, we had to come up with a way or that we wouldn't get like runaway sales. Okay, so for instance, you know, I can do an article for a magazine or a newspaper, and the day of publication, we'll notice that the sales will go up. Now, the worst thing that could happen is that those sales go up beyond what I could fulfill. Yeah. Because every piece, apart from a very small amount of like earrings or things which I make just as a one-off because I'm looking at making something different that day. I made some earrings out of some tin cans last week, you know, some old beer cans and some old soda tonic cans as well. And they were just spare of the moment things, you know. So unless it's things like that, everything's made with the person in mind that's bought the piece. And so the reason why we set everything to 2 on the website is so that I didn't go to bed one morning and wake up the next morning with hundreds of sales because a magazine had been published with an article about me in, because that then would make that would put an incredible amount of stress on us. And as a family, we want no part of the rat race. You know, we want no part of the idea that we've got to conform and, you know, fit into other people's boxes, and we don't want that stress. You know, I want to be able to go out the back of the of Bluebell on a Monday morning, for instance, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. I want to be able to get my tools out. I want to be able to go through my tools, make sure that they're well oiled and they're ready to be used and they're sharp. And then I want to, you know, I want to start tapping on some metal. I want to start creating a few bits. I want to get off the boat every half an hour and have a chat to somebody who's walking down the towpath, or maybe give a dog a stroke as they're going past, have a cup of coffee, go in the boat, check up with Fleur and Bobby, see how their home head's getting on, encourage them. What I don't want to be doing is being there and thinking, oh, I've got 100 orders to fulfill and I've got to make this, because there's no love in that, you know, there's no heart in that, and there's no passion in that. And I think that when art is your thing, when creating is your thing, then being able to have the space and being able to give the time to create the thing is much more precious than having thousands of pounds in your bank at the end of the day. So it's about each piece. It's not about you know, how successful I can make this on a financial level. As long as we're sustainable, we're happy.
So like, when did your like Facebook page like take off? Was it like a gradual growth, or did it like take off over like a couple of days?
Well, so I really have to thank the people of Banbury for this. You know, it's so funny, as a southerner, Banbury is in the north to me. You know, it's only like 10 miles out of Oxford, but that's the north to me. But anyway, Banbury was lovely. We popped up to Banbury, and I had made for myself a ring, and I basically wanted a specific type of copper to make the ring. And you remember how I say when we turn into a town, I usually put a post up on the local Facebook group. Well, this is what I did in Banbury. I said, look, here's a few things. I shared a post from my main page. Here's a few things that I make. But this is what I'm looking for, because I want to make this specific type of ring. So if anybody's got this small tube of copper, you know, I'd be really appreciative, and I'll even make one in return for you for doing that. The Facebook page went absolutely wild. I mean, like crazy wild. And we had, I think, in the region of about 600 likes to our Facebook page that evening alone, from people all around North Oxfordshire and Banbury. And the thing was, is they just got it. They just understood what we were doing. You know, it was coming at a time, and it is at a time, where sustainability, recycling is on everybody's mind. And they just understood it. And they also understood the reason behind why we were doing it, that we were doing it so that we could go off as an adventure with the family. From that evening on, Ethan, it really hasn't stopped. Like you said, that we're up to 14,500 people liking us on Facebook now. But you know, the real love, the amazing thing of that isn't the fact that I've got all of these people that like what we do. It's the fact that it's a really active community. You know, I think that you probably found us through social media. And I've never really been a great fan of social media. But the thing is that I'm meeting so many exciting and interesting people, so many talented people. And, you know, I never would have got that, specifically in a time of lockdown, had we not had those social platforms.
Yeah, that is amazing. And you've said, like, you get to meet so many of your fans, like, every time you get a new place. And with social media, people have, like, massive audience compared to, like, yours, but you seem to have an amazing community that you've built up over the past year. So you've mentioned this as well. So what is it like homeschooling your kids? And when the lockdown started, you must have been perfect at it by then, and people were really struggling, and you had been doing it for like 3 years before. So how's that like?
Yeah. Well, you know, it was incredibly difficult to see the stress that so many people were going through, because obviously our decision to homeschool, Flair's never been to school, Bobby has been to school. But the thing is that when Bobby left school, it was his decision. We never forced it on him. We gave him the options when he asked whether there was something different. So we scrambled around his parents trying to find the options, and we gave those to him, you know, so it would maybe a different school or whatever. But as a family, we came together and we made that decision. And so for us, it was like, you know, you've made your bed, you lie in it. And we even though right in the beginning, it wasn't particularly easy, but it was doable, and it's become a real joy now. But it was incredibly difficult seeing so many parents forced into this position, and it must have been incredibly stressful for them. But our day, and I've said this before, we have a big thing on personal responsibility in our family, and the whole idea is, this is about education from our point of view, is about taking the responsibility to do what's needed. So you know, Bobby has a schedule, and Fleur has a schedule that they both need to keep. And in order to get the perks out of life, we don't have a games console. We're not a gaming family. We watch a little bit of Netflix in the evening. Bobby's thing that he likes to do is go on a Friday or Saturday night with me, and we'll go and have a pint in the pub. He won't have beer. He'll have a pint of cake. But there's all of these perks that come in life, and they come as a result of being responsible and doing your education. You know, this week is half term, so it's a little bit different. Bobby's learning the ukulele, and so he's chucking all of his time into doing the ukulele this week, because that's what he wants to do. And he thinks that he's going to be cool if he does the ukulele, which I think he pretty much is. He's getting on very well with that. And so I wouldn't say that we're loose. We're not strict. but we do ask for a certain amount of work to be done by the children, and if it's done, then they get the good stuff in life and they get to enjoy that. The other thing that we would say is that usually, obviously, if Bobby was at school at the moment, he'd be there for about 6 hours in a day. He can get the equivalent done, curriculum-based, national curriculum-based, within a couple of hours. And so he usually gets up very early. He'll be up and about, and he'll be ready to start learning around about 7 o'clock in the morning. And by 9 o'clock, he's pretty much done. And the thing is that that's really good because it works well with him. Whereas Fleur likes to do things a lot later in the day, you know? But as long as they get their work done and they achieve and they understand why they're doing it, they're not just doing it to be fitting into a box, fitting into somebody else's box. You know, you need to read when you're on a boat because, you know, you need to read warning signs. And you need to know about the history of the canal. A lot of the history that we do is based around the canal. So when we go to places, we look at the history of the canal and how the canal was used, because that's their culture, and not necessarily the culture they were born into, but the culture that they're now living in.
So you like localize what you're doing and what you're teaching them every time. And do you have like certain subjects that you do, and do you have certain subjects that your wife do, or is it like a combined effort?
Okay, so not necessarily. I mean, I think Fleur likes it when I do maths, because as 4-year-old, we do maths with blueberries, and she quite likes that. And Bobby quite likes working with mummy on maths. And so, you know, that's what we do. But what I would say is a lot of Bobby's learning is self-guided. So he actually, we don't have a huge amount of input other than giving him praise and checking that he's doing well. So a lot of his stuff would be going to find the right books, going to find the right websites, finding the right resources and getting on with it. With a little bit of guidance from us. With Fleur obviously being 4 years old, we're a lot more involved in her learning, but as we go, we'll sort of become more hands-off, because at the end of the day, Ethan, I think that, you know, you can only hold so much up here. Education is more about teaching the child to learn as opposed to teaching the child what they need to know, because if they have the skills to be able to learn, they can then apply those skills to absolutely anything in life and find out what they need to know.
So is there a lessons that you get from like the local authority or anything for your 10-year-old or not, or do you like find the resources and then you give it to them, him or not?
So no, we don't have any contact with the local authority at all. Some home ed families do if there's been specific issues, but we haven't, since deregistering Bobby from school ages ago now. We haven't had any contact with the authorities at all, which is great. And there's also no set curriculum for home ed kids. We follow the national curriculum as close as possible, because my thought and Jackie's thought is that if Bob ever chooses to hop back into school, we wouldn't stop that, because it's his decision, you know. So if he wants to go back to school, then he can sort of slot straight in, you know. But so we keep the maths, we keep the English around the national curriculum. But when it comes to history, I mean, we're learning history everywhere we go, and history is one of Bob's things. So he actually he's a great researcher. He'll get the books, he'll go into charity shops, he'll raid libraries and learn and read all of this information. And he'll tell you things that, I mean, I would never have known, you know. It was great to go with him this morning to the bunker, the nuclear bunker that we went to. And he was reeling off stuff before we even went in there. And I was thinking, is that true? Is that true? Is that true? But it was, you know, it was fantastic.
Yeah, that sounds great. So my mum also had a couple of questions because she follows you on Facebook. I think one of her friends told her about you, and whenever she makes a loaf of bread, she uses your no kneading method, and it is absolutely lovely. So thank you for that.
No
Thank
worries.
you for that method. So she asked a couple of questions. She put, and I think you've answered a little bit of this. But do you have like a set routine for to when you go through the locks, and does everyone have their specific job that they do?
Yeah. So basically, Fleur is in charge of entertaining the skipper. So she'll sit on the back hatch and be with Jackie. We don't allow any children to be in the boat when we're going through the lock. They're on the back of the boat. And the reason for that is because if there is going to be a problem with sinking the boat, it's more than likely going to be in a lock. So it's far safer for the kids to be on the back deck, where if there is a problem, we can quickly chuck them off and chuck them ashore. Literally chuck them ashore, because we need to be quick in those sorts of situations. We don't envisage anything like that ever happening, because we're sensible when we go through the lock. Yeah, as regards to roles, as long as the locks aren't too choppy, on the Shroppy where we are now, the Shropshire Union Canal, the locks when you're coming out have got a bywash, so when you come out of the lock chamber, there's a really strong flow of water shooting outside of the canal. And Jackie finds those a bit disconcerting. So some of the times I'll take the boat out of the lock in that instance. But normally what will happen is Bobby will run ahead to the first lock. He'll fill the lock if we're going down. He'll open the top gate as well. Now, bear in mind, these gates are usually around about 1.5 to 2 tons in weight. But Fleur can even open them. They're quite well balanced, with a big old balance beam coming off. So Bob will get the lock ready. We'll then appear in Bluebell and the boat will go in. I'll jump off, close the gate, and then I'll open the bottom paddles. And by this time, Bobby's already run off and he's gone to the next lock. If we're in a flight of locks, that is, which is usually just around the corner, he'll get the next lock ready as I take Bluebell through the current lock, let the boat out, close the gates behind it, and then I'll walk beside Bluebell to get to the next lock, and then we'll just keep on going through that process until we get there. Used to take us around about 20 to 25 minutes to go through a lock. Takes us less than 10 minutes now, so we're getting there.
Yeah. Wow. So my mum's also asked, has your new dog ever jumped off for a swim yet?
It looked very close earlier today, actually. He's fine getting on and off the front of the boat. He's quite scared of the back of the boat, and to be honest, I don't blame him, because there's quite a big propeller just underneath the water. And so he was looking quite, as we were going through the locks today, he was poking his nose around the back of the boat and thinking about jumping off. One thing that did happen is we were at Fradley Junction, and I decided that I would teach him to walk across the plank. So on a lock gate, there's a plank on the outside of the lock gate, which you can walk across. It's a good sort of like 12 to 18 inches wide, and you walk over it to get from one side of the lock to the other. And we're at Fradley Junction, and I give him a treat, and then I show him I've got another treat in to tempt him to walk across this plank. What I hadn't envisaged or realized, that the canal was covered in blossom, and it really just looked like the floor. It looked like just a tarmac thing with blossom on it. And so Dusty thought, well, I'm not going to go across the plank. I'll walk across the ground. But of course, it wasn't the ground, and he just fell straight in the canal. That was after we had him for only about 2 or 3 weeks. And the good news was he could swim, and he didn't seem too traumatized by it. He seemed to have actually quite enjoyed it. So that was the first time that he's been in, but he's been in another time as well, when he tried to jump off the boat and there was a gap between the boat and the land, and he went straight in. But again, within seconds, he had brought himself out, which was really quite a nice thing to know, that he can actually climb out of the canal.
Yeah. So we'll move on to my final questions now. How is the channel boat community quite friendly, and also is like the local community quite friendly to people like walking past? As you said, you might just talk to a person walking past. Is that quite a friendly process, and is that actually people do that quite often and want to talk to you?
Yeah, I would say that there's much more of a sense of community on the canal than I experienced when we lived in the house. But that might have just been the place where we were living. You know, that's not just to say that in house dwellers don't have a sense of community, because they really, really do. And we're seeing that in actual fact the further we're coming north. But there's bad apples in every barrel, you know, and so there are some things which bring into question, you know, whether it's a nice community and a safe community. I would say it is 100%, you know, and it's a very, in actual fact, we've had no direct issues with there being negative effects towards boaters or anything like that. But you hear a lot of things happening in different areas. In Oxford, they don't particularly, there is a little bit about, there's something about the house dwelling community and the boaters community that just doesn't gel together comfortably. But the further north we go, there's in actual fact, 7 miles out of Oxford, where our home mooring is, there's such a warm community between the house dwellers and the boat dwellers. It's really lovely to see. And you get that going all the way along as well. What I really love about the community is the fact that, I mean, these guys on this boat next door to us, the last time we saw them, we're in Banbury. So that was probably 70 hours away if you were going non-stop. In real time, the last time we saw them was in December. Yeah. And so what's really lovely is they've gone out for the day now, unless they've been back and I haven't seen them, but they've gone out for the day now. But what's really nice is we've just come moored up behind them. And, you know, when they're back later, no doubt we'll sit out on the towpath and have a cup of coffee and catch up and see what they've been doing for the last 5 months. And that's what I really love. You know how, Ethan, you've got all of your mates around you? Well, we've got all of our mates in a massive long line. And what's really nice about that is that when you arrive and you moor next to them and you're there for a couple of days, that interaction with that friend is really rich, because you haven't got all of the other stuff going on around you. And then you say goodbye and then you go on to the next place and you'll bump into somebody else, you know, and you'll sit down, you'll have a few beers on the towpath or, you know, a coffee or something like that. And then, you know, you catch up. So you're constantly catching up with old friends. You're constantly getting new news of what's been happening. Maybe somebody's had a baby, you know, and all of this other stuff. And so it's very interesting, you know.
Yeah, and my final question is, how has COVID affected you and the channel boat community?
Yeah, I think that it's affected. So within the boating community, there's loads of different elements. You've got the liveaboard boaters like us who live aboard our boats all year round. You've also got the leisure boaters who will have a home and then they'll have a boat maybe in a marina or on a canal and river trust mooring and take it out for holidays and things. Now, those people during lockdown, those boaters haven't been able to go on their boats. So for them, it's been, you know, it's really affected them. Also, hire boat companies haven't been able to hire out their boats to people whilst we've been in lockdown either. And so for those, it's been really, really tricky too. For us, it's not been so tricky because we were able to move throughout lockdown for essential services only. So we were able to move every week or so when we needed to fill up with water, for instance, or if we needed to get to a supermarket. We had a few bigger cruises in that time because, like I said, back in December, January time, our heating failed. And there's actually an epic video of the journey that we took through the ice when the canal froze over and we had to smash the ice with a pole to get through so that we could go and find a new pump for our heaters so that we could have the heating on. Because as a family, you know, with a 4-year-old and even a 10-year-old, you can't have, and specifically when the canal's frozen over to 1.5 inches thickness as well, you can't be cold, you know, so we had to get through. So for us, it affected us a lot less. But I really do feel for those people who haven't been able to get out on their boats for such a long time. But it's been amazing the last few weeks just seeing the canal. Here's another boat coming this way now and another boat coming up this way too. It's been amazing to see the canal come to life after such a dead period, because it was actually quite boring having nobody around.
Yeah. So thank you for coming on the show today. It's been great.
No worries.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you so much. You know what I mean? This has been a highlight of my day.
Oh, thank you. Okay, bye. So hopefully you enjoyed my interview with Bike and Boat. I do want to say a big thank you to Rich from Bike and Boat for taking time out of his day. If you want to see more of by Bike and Boat, all of his social media are down in the description down below. And I also want to say thank you to him for helping me to get to 100 subscribers, which is absolutely incredible. He shouted me out on his social media, which really pushed me to 100 subscribers. Sadly, that is all we have time for in today's episode. We will be back on the 10th of July on audio and the 11th of July on video with a very exciting interview, the weekly watch list, and head-to-head the best guest. Please share this video with your friends and family. Listen to last week's episode if you haven't already. Listen to this show until the end. Email me. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe because we are trying to get to 200 subscribers. Or follow, favorite or review or whatever your listening platform does. It really does help out and does mean a lot to me. In the meantime, if you have any suggestions to make the show better, or about the Brit Kids Gaming Show, or if you want to talk on the show, or if you have a TV show or film that you'd like to nominate for the watch list, or if you want the chance to compete in head-to-head the best guest, comment below, message me on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram, or email me at thebrickistshow@gmail.com. So that is all we have time for this week. We will be back on the 10th of July on audio and the 11th of July on video, but at the same time. But for now, goodbye.
Bringing you a kid-friendly radio show every Saturday afternoon on YouTube. Broadcasting live at 1 o'clock. Broadcasting live at 1 o'clock.